OG&E crews deploying from Oklahoma to Florida, and updates on Hurricane Ian, how Governor Stitt is helping ease the pain of inflation, and the latest polling data from Oklahoma State Superintendent of Public Administration race. This is OU Nightly. Thanks for watching OU Nightly. I'm Addie Crawford.
And I'm Tyler DeLuca. We begin tonight with the latest on the hurricane approaching Florida. Hurricane Ian is expected to grow stronger within the next few hours, and for the first time in over 100 years, Tampa Bay is the main target. Ian is expected to bring a life-threatening storm surge to the states on the west coast. Schools are closing, flights are canceled, and the area is being evacuated immediately. Floridians are preparing for loss of water and power for several days.
The worst thing is when you lose power. So you've got no power, no water. So yeah, I recommend have plenty of water, even if it's for a few days. So we're battening down the hatches.
Residents and store owners are boarding up their homes and storefronts in preparation for the hurricane.
OG&E has sent crews to Florida to assist in repairing hurricane damage. Austin Pratt is live at OG&E headquarters with the latest on what the crews are working on. Austin?
Thanks, Addie. When natural disasters hit, some utility companies like OG&E here in Oklahoma send their crews to other states in order to help repair the damage. It's called mutual assistance and is common in the utility world.
So OG&E answers the call to other utilities across the nation when a natural disaster is expected to hit. We sent 95 line restoration and support personnel to Tampa, Florida to help restore power in the event of power outages happening as a result of Hurricane Ian.
Days before Ian makes landfall in Florida, OG&E was already dispatching their crews there.
We typically deploy before the storm hits so that we make sure that we get there with enough time that our crews aren't driving in unsafe conditions and that we are staged and ready to restore power quickly.
Oklahoma is no stranger to severe weather and has experience dealing with severe storms, as well as benefiting from mutual assistance in the past.
So we have had to make calls to fellow neighboring states and ask for help as well, following tornadoes or large windstorms or hailstorms, ice storms. We've had several utilities come and help us before, and so we're always happy to return the favor.
OG&E says they're happy to help because someday Oklahoma will need help too. Over 60 trucks filled with OG&E linemen and support staff are expected to arrive in Tampa today in order to begin preparations. Reporting live, Austin Pratt, OU Nightly. Addie, Tyler, back to you.
Thanks, Austin.
And with more on Hurricane Ian, OU Nightly's Josh Duncan has the whereabouts of the storm. Josh?
Yeah, Tyler, Hurricane Ian has rapidly intensified into a major Category 3 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 120 miles per hour now as it has entered the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. So here it is on radar. You can see a very well-defined eye with this storm as it's making that turn now toward the southwestern portions of Florida. So here's the latest track just in from the National Hurricane Center, expecting this to become a Category 4 hurricane overnight tonight into early tomorrow. Then it approaches the coast of Florida, landfall likely somewhere south of Tampa or near south of Tampa tomorrow afternoon. It will begin to weaken as it moves ashore, but this will bring a significant risk for high winds, storm surge, and inland flooding, as some places could see 1 to 2 feet of rain. Back around here, the weather is much quieter in Oklahoma with warm weather continuing, dry weather too, but we'll take a look at that weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Thanks, Josh. 41 days from today, Oklahomans will be voting to determine who's the state's next governor. One of the top concerns among votes is the economy and the rising cost of inflation. Governor Kevin Stitt, who is running for re-election, announced a plan today that he claims would be a solution for the cost of groceries. OU Nightly's Roddy is live with the details. Bella?
That's right, guys. So many Americans are avoiding going to the store altogether because of inflation. And Governor Kevin Stitt, in the middle of a tough re-election battle, has come up with his solution to eliminate the state's grocery tax.
Oklahomans are hurting.
As prices on everyday items continue to rise, living as a low-income Oklahoman can make you feel like you are unraveling at the seams. But Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt says that there is a simple solution on the horizon.
Let's start with just ending the grocery tax.
With the largest savings account in state history at $3 billion, Governor Stitt plans to use some of the money to end Oklahoma's days of having one of the highest grocery tax left in the country.
The state grocery tax is a regressive tax. Eliminating it can save families hundreds each year.
Grocery essential prices like eggs, butter, and milk all have risen, and overall food prices have gone up 13.5%, which may not seem like a lot, but in reality hasn't been as high since 1979.
And so as governor, I represent all 4 million Oklahomans. I know Oklahomans need this. We can afford it. I believe in lower taxes and smaller government. We need to give that back to the taxpayers.
With over 500,000 Oklahomans living under the federal poverty line, ending this tax could make a difference. But with the legislature returning tomorrow for special session, we won't know if this proposal is promised until then. So next time you pick up your receipt after a quick grocery run, you might notice that you're spending a little less than you did before. Reporting live in Norman, Bella Roddy, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Bella. The governor's press conference is timed just before the state legislature comes into a special session tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Critics say it's a political stunt by the governor. His opponent, Democrat Joy Hoffmeister, has indicated she would prefer to see the minimum wage raised to offer financial support to working Oklahomans. In other election news, a poll shows a very tight race for the state superintendent of public instruction. The poll conducted by KOCO and Amber Integrated Polling Data shows Democrat Jenna Nelson has a 5-point lead over Republican Ryan Walters. Nelson is leading Walters 49% to 44%. This marks the only race statewide where a Democrat is currently in the lead, according to pre-election polls.
And latest information on the January 6th hearings and the Russia-Ukraine war. Donovan England has that and the rest of today's international headlines from the News Center.
Yes, Tyler. More information has been revealed about the Trump White House. Longtime Republican ally Roger Stone was recorded cursing the vote tally of the 2020 election and encouraging violence. This video is one of the multiple pieces of evidence being reviewed by the January 6th committee. More of Trump's allies are also being investigated. This includes former Assistant Peter Navarro and Chief of Staff Mark Meadows. Ukrainian forces continue offensive efforts east of Izium, liberating parts of the village of Pisky-Redkivsky. The village is the second largest settlement in the community. The armed forces of Ukraine are pushing out the enemy, but some liberated territories are enduring enemy shelling. A CNN poll released earlier this year shows that majority of Ukrainian respondents oppose unification with Russia. And today, Japan pays respects to former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. More than 42,000 guests attended the service at the Nippo Budokan Arena in Tokyo, despite the public opposition of the cost of the service. The country remembers the legacy of its longest-serving prime minister. That's all for the latest news around the world. Back to you all.
Thanks, Donovan. NASA got a big win last night. Hear how they're helping protect from potential space threats.
And Addie, I know that you're graduating soon. With this new research, LinkedIn is making the job search easier.
Graduation is coming up for me in a few months, so I'm looking forward to hearing about it. This story and more next up on OU Nightly. Welcome back to OU Nightly. A mission was complete after NASA crashed a spacecraft into an asteroid. Amaya Ward has that story and more in Science and Technology.
History was made last night when NASA's double asteroid redirection test spacecraft successfully slammed into asteroid Dimorphos. This was a huge win for NASA's plan in case a devastating asteroid collision should ever threaten humanity. However, it may take up to several weeks to monitor for changes in the asteroid's trajectory. NASA says no asteroids are expected to hit the Earth in the next 100 years. Jupiter put on a special show for stargazers on Monday night, making its closest approach to Earth since 1963. The largest planet in our solar system, the gas giant, was at opposition, meaning Earth is directly between it and the sun. If you didn't hear about the nighttime spectacle, or if you forgot, astronomers report that Jupiter will still look almost as large and brilliant for quite some time. LinkedIn ran undisclosed social experiments on 20 million users for 5 years to study job success. A new study analyzing the data reveals our acquaintances may be more helpful in finding a new job than close friends. Researchers behind the study say the finding will improve job mobility on the platform. And if you want your resume to be a little more on the sweeter side, one LinkedIn user went viral after printing her resume on a cake and delivering it to Nike executives. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Amaya. Parking on campus has been a hot topic for a while now.
But this time, we're not talking about parking cars. Stay tuned to find out what mode of transportation is plaguing campus.
And believe it or not, October starts next week, but the weather isn't quite matching.
Yeah, no kidding. Josh Duncan is back to tell us if our short sleeves and tank tops are here to stay. Josh?
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be pretty hot once again outside tomorrow, but we will be slightly cooler here later in the week. Your full forecast is coming up right after this. Tuesday afternoon, current temperatures across the state of Oklahoma are in the 80s and 90s. It's 89 right now in Tulsa, 90 here in Norman and OKC, but it is downright hot in the western part of the state. Yeah, some mid-90s creeping in, 94 right now in Lawton. Fortunately, the humidity is low and there's a bit of a breeze out there out of the southwest, winds gusting between 15 and 20 miles per hour in some areas. So that's helping out just a bit with this heat. And taking a look at the forecast for this evening, temperatures will fall pretty quickly down to 81 by 8 o'clock after the sun sets and 76 by 9 o'clock with clear skies. And again, south winds a bit breezy, but they will begin to die down later on this evening. Over the next few days, we're going to have pretty much a repeat for tomorrow, 89 for the high, and then it does get slightly cooler for Thursday and Friday with highs in the low to mid 80s. Also, the winds will stay breezy here over the next few days, and across the country, there's really just not a whole lot of weather going on. Lots of clear skies, but our big focus in the national weather story is down in the Florida area with Hurricane Ian expected to come ashore tomorrow. So that's going to cause big impacts down in that part of the country. Around here, there's no such thing going on. Live look outside from the campus cam shows a clear blue sky again. Current temperature now up to 91 degrees with a southwest wind at 21 miles per hour. And overnight tonight, it will be getting comfortable once again with lows in the upper 50s to low 60s, right around 60 degrees here in Norman to start off your Wednesday. But then during the afternoon, the heat builds right back in. So 89, the high in Norman, 90s once again for southern portions of the state. So yeah, we're here into the first full week of fall, but these numbers are about 10 degrees above average for much of the state. It is just not feeling like fall yet. And here it comes, your 7-day forecast. Slightly cooler weather here Thursday, Friday. The weekend, we start to warm back up again, but it is going to be a nice weekend with highs in the mid to upper 80s. And yeah, just no changes on the way over the next 7 days. Tyler?
Thanks, Josh. The OU Faculty Senate is discussing new parking measures for Veo scooters. OU Nightly's Summer Miller is live and has more on the proposal.
Yeah, Tyler, you see students riding around campus on scooters just like this one, but a lot of them end up in roadways or blocking entrances. The OU Faculty Senate is proposing a possible solution to that. I talked with students around campus to see what they thought. Parking is not a new conversation on campus, but this time, the focus is on a different kind of campus ride.
I've seen a bunch of them parked in random places all over.
Using the Veo app, students can unlock scooters and drive them throughout campus. Where they end up, though, is raising concerns.
I've seen, the other day I actually saw one like behind a bush, like over by the towers, so just very weird places.
Personally, I've seen a lot of scooters on the road or like in the middle of like the most inconvenient spots.
The OU Faculty Senate is attempting to combat these concerns by asking VO to set regulations on the app, only allowing the scooters to be parked in certain areas. But some students say that still may not stop improper parking.
I honestly think it'll still happen. I feel like people want to hog them, and so they'll hide them in the most obscure places so that no one else can get them.
But they always find their way, no matter what you do. If you put the fences, the geo fences up, I'm sure they'll find a way, no matter what.
The goal behind the new parking feature would be accessibility and ultimately safety. The Faculty Senate will vote on this proposal at their next meeting on October 10th. In the meantime, be sure to watch your step. There might be a scooter there. Reporting live, Summer Miller, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Summer. Brent Venables and the Sooners will be looking to bounce back against TCU on Saturday.
OU Nightly's Jimmy Wicks has what to expect, plus everything you might have missed on Monday Night Football next.
Yeah, after a rough outing against the Wildcats, the Sooners are hoping to get back in the win column. And a one-handed catch you will need to see to believe from a Sooner legend. You're going to want to stick around for sports, coming up next. We've got crazy one-handed snags, the Sooner star at Belmar, and reactions from the first loss of the Brent Venables era. Hello, I'm Jimmy Wicks, and it's time for sports. With a 41-34 loss to K-State over the weekend, Brent Venables is looking forward to another road challenge against the Horned Frogs this Saturday.
Looking forward to going on the road to TCU. Got a chance to play a really good TCU team, so got a great challenge for us. Our guys are anxious and eager to improve and get better, show that last week wasn't really reflective and indicative of the type of performance that we're capable of. I like the attitude, how our guys responded yesterday, the toughness after, again, having a bad night.
After a tough loss last week, the Sooners are looking to bounce back to correct their past mistakes. Sooner defensive back Key Lawrence isn't too worried about the early loss in the season.
Big confidence thing for us as well. Understand that we, as cliche it may sound, we honestly needed things to be humbled because we started getting ahead of ourselves, and it's early. It's glad that we lost early in the season because that's something like football is a sport where it's better to lose early than later. So we trying to take the coaching points and then all the errors that we had and try to fix it to the game so it won't happen again.
And back on the pitch, Olivia Ramey continued her dominant stretch in net for the second straight week. Ramey shut out Baylor over the weekend to help the Sooners continue their 5-game win streak. This Thursday, the Sooners will look to build momentum with the Cyclones coming to town this Thursday at 7 p.m. And last night, the Dallas Cowboys traveled to the Meadowlands to face off with the G-Men. Both teams got off to a slow start offensively with no touchdowns in the first half. Then Saquon Barkley broke off a huge 36-yard run to take a 7-point lead. Later, Ezekiel Elliott punched one in from a yard out to tie the game at 13. Midway through the fourth quarter, Cooper Rush dropped an absolute dime to CeeDee Lamb, who made a dazzling one-handed snag in the corner of the end zone to put the Giants away 23-16. And OU Women's Golf finished the 9th Schooner Classic yesterday, finishing 6th at the Belmar Golf Club. The Sooners finished the tournament at even par after holding on to second-place lead going into the final round. Then OU shot 2 over to drop out of the top 5. And the OU Oklahoma men's golf team returns to action this week at the Inverness Collegiate for a 2-day 16-team tournament. And don't forget, Sooner students, OU football tryouts are October 19th at 4 p.m. at the Everest Indoor Training Facility. Tyler, you thinking about getting the old arm loose?
Yeah, Jimmy, nothing is stopping me from following that Baker path and becoming a Sooner legend. I'm going to be there. Addie, do you think, honestly, that I have what it takes?
Tyler, honestly, I think you should just stick to the desk. But when OU Nightly returns, we'll tell you about a new record broken today.
I'm Ireland Fitzer at the OU Nightly Update Desk with breaking news. Russia has just issued a new nuclear warning today against Ukraine. Ukrainian President Zelensky is saying he will not be swayed by threats from Russia. Diplomats say the nuclear threat is an attempt by Russia to scare the West into reducing support for Ukraine. Addie, Tyler, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Ireland. And, well, there's a first time for everything, Addie.
That was the case for breaking the record for most skydives in Kentucky in just 12 hours.
Mike Bratcher jumped out of a plane today 100 times, jumping every 7 minutes.
Although it was on his bucket list, he also wanted to benefit a good cause.
Bratcher started a GoFundMe page to donate the proceeds to disabled American veterans.
What a nice and unique way to give back.
Now let's get one last look at the weather from Josh Duncan.
Josh, can we expect any changes in this wild Oklahoma weather?
Well, Addie, it's not going to be so wild around here for the next week. Take a look at our forecast. Lots of sunshine over the next 7 days. We're 89 tomorrow, then slightly cooler Thursday, Friday. But keep in mind, our average high this time of year is 80. So all of these numbers are above average. Back to you.
Thanks, Josh, and thank you for tuning in to OU Nightly.
We're live every weekday at 4:30 from Gaylord Hall. Good night.